So, growing up, many of us fell in love with children's literature and folktale genre through stories that last a lifetime. Among those, Charlotte's Web by E.B. White is an unforgettable story of friendship, wonder, and a circle of life that has delighted readers from young and old ever since it was published 70 years ago. And today, I would like to share a deeply moving and one of the most emotional scenes in the story. And this is an extract from chapter 2, verse named The Last Day. So, he said in disgust, so it's old Templeton to the rescue again, isn't it? Templeton do this, Templeton do that. Templeton, please run down to the dump and get me a magazine clipping. Templeton, please lend me a piece of string so I can spin a web. Oh, hurry, said Wilbur. Hurry up, Templeton. But the rat was in no hurry. He began imitating Wilbur's voice. So it's hurry up, Templeton, is it? He said. And what thanks do I ever get for these services? I would like to know. Never a kind word for Templeton, only abuse and wisecrack and side remarks. Never a kind word for a rat. Templeton, said Wilbur in desperation, if you don't stop talking and get busy, all will be lost, and I will die of a broken heart. Please climb up. Templeton lay back in the straw. Lazily, he placed his forepaws behind his head and crossed his knees in an attitude of complete relaxation. Die of a broken heart, he mimicked. How touching! My. I noticed that it's always me you come to when in trouble, but I've never heard of anyone's heart breaking on my account. Oh no, who cares about anything about old Templeton? Get up, screamed Wilbur. Stop acting like a spoiled child. Templeton grinned lazily and lay still. Who made trip after trip to the dump? He asked. Why, it was old Templeton who saved Charlotte's life by scaring that arable boy away with a rotten goose egg. Bless my soul, I believe it was old Templeton who bit your tail and got you back to your feet this morning after you had fainted in front of the crowd. Oh, Templeton, has it ever occurred to you that I am sick of running errands and doing favors? What do you think I am, anyway? A rat of all work? Wilbur was desperate. The people were coming, and the rat was failing him. Suddenly, he remembered Templeton's fondness for food. Templeton, he said, I will make you a solemn promise. Get Charlotte's egg sack for me, and from now on, I will let you eat first when Lurvy slaps me. I will let you have your choice on everything in the throat, and I won't touch a thing until you're through. The rat sat up. You mean, Dad? He said. I promise. I cross my heart. All right, then, it's a deal, said the rat. He walked to the wall and started to climb. His stomach was still swollen from last night's gorge. Groaning and complaining, he pulled himself slowly to the ceiling. He crept along till he reached the egg sac. Charlotte moved aside for him. She was dying, but she still had enough strength to move a little. Then Templeton bared his long, ugly teeth and began snipping the threads that fastened the sack to the ceiling. Wilbur watched from below. Use extreme care, he said. I don't want a single of those eggs harmed. This stuff takes in my mouth, complained the rat. It's worse than caramel candy. But Templeton worked away at the job and managed to cut the sack adrift and carry it to the ground, where he dropped it in front of Wilbur. Wilbur heaved a great sigh of relief. Thank you, Templeton, he said. I will never forget this as long as I live. Neither will I, said the rat, picking his teeth. I feel as if I've eaten a spool of thread. Well, home we go. Templeton crept into the crate and buried himself in the straw. He got out of sight in time. Lurvy and John Arable and Mr. Zuckerman came at the moment, followed by Mrs. Arable and Mrs. Zuckerman and Avery and Fern. Wilbur had already decided how he would carry this egg sac. There was only one way possible. He carefully took the little bundle into his mouth and held it there on top of his tongue. He remembered what Charlotte had told him. The egg sac was waterproof and strong. It felt funny on his tongue and made him drool a bit. And of course, he couldn't say anything. But as he was being shoved into the crate, he looked up at Charlotte and gave her a wink. She knew he was saying goodbye in the only way he could, and she knew that her children were safe and sound. Goodbye, she whispered. Then she summoned all her strength and waved one of her front legs at him. She never moved again. The next day, as the Ferris wheel was being taken apart and the race horses were being loaded into vans and trainers were packing up their belongings and driving away into their trailers, Charlotte died. The fairgrounds were soon deserted. The sheds and the buildings were empty and forlorn. The infield was littered with bottles and trash. Nobody out of hundreds and thousands of people that had visited the fair knew that a gray spider had played the most important part of all. No one was with her when she died. And so, when Wilbur came home to his beloved manure pile in the barn cellar, his was a strange homecoming. Around his neck, he wore a medal of honor. In his mouth, he held a sack of spider's egg. There was no place like home, Wilbur cried, as he placed Charlotte's 514 unborn children carefully in the safe corner. The barn smelled good. His friends and the sheep and the geese were glad to see him back. The geese gave him a noisy welcome. "Congratulations!" they cried. "Nice work!" Mr. Zuckerman took the medal from Wilbur's neck and hung it on the nail over the pigeon where visitors could examine it. Wilbur himself could look at it whenever he wanted to. And now his life was safe and sound. Mr. Zuckerman would never harm him ever again. And it was all thanks to Charlotte. And this is a timeless story of friendship and love from one of the best stories in New York City by that time. Thank you for listening.